Does your anxiety make you feel so nauseous? You're not alone. We're going to talk all about it. Stay tuned. That's what's up next. Hi, my name is Natasha Daniels. I'm a therapist. I make videos for people with anxiety or OCD. And today I want to talk to you about feeling nauseous and what to do about that, because anxiety and nausea, unfortunately, they go hand in hand. But before I get started, don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell so you get notified, because I do make new videos every Thursday. Okay, so what's this relationship with anxiety and feeling sick to your stomach? There's actually like a physiological reason why you feel nauseous when you're anxious. When we are anxious, there's a false alarm that happens in our body. We think that we are in danger. And so the false alarm gets triggered, and our body does a whole bunch of things to protect us and make us able to run really fast, to get away from danger, to fight. It's how we're wired. And part of that process is sending a bunch of chemicals through your body, fight or flight type of chemicals like cortisol and adrenaline, so that you can fight, or you can run, or you can escape this invisible danger that doesn't really exist, right? This is what has kept us living and surviving all this time as human beings. But when you have anxiety, you're triggering that false alarm all the time. And there's no bear or lion chasing you. There's no danger. It's just your anxiety having a false alarm. And so those chemicals flooding through your body have nowhere to go. And they can't hurt you. A false alarm can't harm you, but it doesn't feel great. And having adrenaline and cortisol in your body and not really doing anything with it can make you feel a little nauseous. The other thing that the body does, because it is an incredible thing, is it tries to think of things to help you. And so it says, we are in critical danger right now. We are having an emergency. So let's shut off all that stomach behavior. We don't need to be processing food. We don't need to be, worrying about peeing and pooping. And so let's forget about all of that. And so that can leave your stomach feeling really sour, because that food's not going to be digested. It's just sitting there. Or things that you have that are ready to come out might urgently have to come out because your body's like, we have no time for this. Let's just get rid of everything. So there's a lot of physical symptoms that come with anxiety due to your body trying to prepare you for an emergency that's not really happening. All that to say, it's not harmful or dangerous for you to have that experience, but it's not pleasant. And the most common experience with all of that going on is a sour stomach. You feel nauseous. You might feel like you have to throw up. And the way that we interact with that feeling could make that feeling stay longer. It can actually make that feeling turn into an anxiety theme of its own, or we can ride that wave and it can go through us pretty quickly and not have a strong impact. And so one of the things that people do when they are feeling anxious and nauseous is they hyperfocus on the nausea, and they want to get rid of it. And so they are doing a bunch of stuff to get rid of it. What do I need to do to get rid of my stomach from hurting? Let me take some deep breaths, and let me listen to this music, and let me put oil on, and let me check for my stomach. It's still hurting. What if it never goes away? So the problem with that isn't doing those things. Taking deep breaths can actually reset that nervous system. And so that's not a bad thing to do, because you have a false alarm and you need to send a message to your brain that there's no emergency here. That was just a joke. And so when you take deep breaths and you blow deep breaths out and you do some square breathing, in and then hold it and then out, that can reset your nervous system, and that can be really helpful. However, when you're banking on that to reduce your stomach issues, you're going to get disappointed. Because when we're constantly checking, do I still feel nauseous? Yep, I still feel nauseous. Do I still feel nauseous? Yep, I still feel nauseous. We actually start to get more anxious. And what do you think happens when we get more anxious? You guessed it. Our stomach starts to hurt more, because the body's like, we're still having an emergency. Send out more chemicals. And then you're like, why is my stomach not feeling better? Well, because you just continue to press the emergency button when there's no emergency. And so a big part of this, and I get that this is hard because I have anxiety and my stomach has been an issue my whole childhood, because when I was anxious, my stomach would hurt. And when my stomach would hurt, I'd get more anxious. So I do get this. And two out of my 3 kids have this struggle as well. But what I have realized and what I teach people in my practice is that when we accept the nausea, I know who wants to accept nausea, but we don't get a choice, right? Once that emergency alarm has been triggered and it's happening, those chemicals have already been released and it just has to ride itself out. And so not adding to the anxiety and not adding to the stress is the only thing we have control over. And so I have to say to myself, or my daughter has to say to herself, I am feeling nauseous and this will get better soon. And I am going to not hyper focus on it. I know that's so hard to do, but the more I hyper focus on it and wait for it to go away, well, it's still here, the longer it's going to stick around. So maybe I will do a couple things. Maybe I'll take some deep breaths to reset my nervous system. Maybe I'll smell something like peppermint, which actually can really help, or ginger can help some nausea, or listen to something. And then I'm going to go refocus my attention on something else. I'm going to watch a YouTube video, not about anxiety in this moment, or I'm going to go watch something or listen to something or focus on an activity that I enjoy or go talk to someone that I enjoy. And I'm going to redirect my attention away from my stomach and onto something else. And when I start to feel the waves of nausea, I'm going to like, yep, my emergency alarm got triggered and it's working its way out of me. The problem is when we don't do that and we really hyper focus on it, we actually can create an anxiety theme of its own. A lot of people who have emetophobia, the fear of throw up, started with just having an anxious stomach. And then the anxious stomach became its own theme because it became a new worry of, what if I throw up when I'm at school? I'm anxious about going to school and now my stomach hurts because I'm anxious. And now I think, well, what if I throw up while I'm at school? And now I have emetophobia, the fear of throwing up. Now I have an added layer, which makes my stomach hurt more often because I'm hyper focusing on my stomach more. It's a vicious cycle. And the way out of that cycle is to say, yep, sometimes my stomach hurts and sometimes it doesn't. And I know there's some things that I can do, to work my way through it, like taking some deep breaths to reset my nervous system, smelling something like particularly peppermint or spearmint. They do make essential oils that you can like rub on your wrists to smell that actually do calm the stomach. But I'm not going to do those things with the intention of my stomach instantly feeling better. And I'm not going to measure how long it takes and say those things didn't work because my stomach didn't feel better. I'm going to do those things possibly to just have an activity to do, and then I'm going to let it go. I'm going to let it go and I'm going to refocus my attention on an activity or something that I enjoy and ride that emergency alarm wave until it's gone. I know that's easier said than done. I get that on a very personal level because my stomach still hurts sometimes when I'm feeling anxious. And I know that's just a component of my anxiety. But when we do this over time, we actually get pretty skilled at it. And the length of time that our stomach hurts lessens and lessens because we're not hyper-focusing on how lessened it's getting. Does that make sense? Well, I hope that you found this helpful. Don't forget to find the sparkle in everything you do. I'll be back again next Thursday with a new video. Take care.